Hello. I had a big stretch.
Hello.
Just like my dog, I had a big stretch.
I like it. Welcome back to TBR Lowdown.
Hello, friends. I am making my way through all my beverages as we record.
That's what happens. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
I have three. I have my boba, which is non-existent, really. It's just that cream that I don't like.
Yep.
Coffee,
Oh, nice, nice. You're a real coffee.
some Topo
This is going
Chico,
to be a running joke between you and I.
Topo
My
Chico.
alternative coffee versus your real coffee.
Don't even call it coffee. You have mushroom water.
Ooh, alrighty then. Okay.
And you
Having a
know
good
I
time
love a
here.
mushroom,
Yeah.
but
Not to
not
drink.
not in that context.
Right.
Mm-mm. No.
So
You
good.
weirdo. You
I know.
weirdo.
I know.
What does it do for you? How do you feel? Is it changing your life?
No,
Look how condescending I am.
no. It's not changing anything. It's just really, really good though. It's really, really good. So, yeah. Yeah.
In what world?
Anyone else drink alternative coffee? Anyone? Anyone? No? Just me? That's
I
fine.
think hot, I think Hot Brother got a little less hot after this.
He loves it. He loves it.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Anyway, hi folks, how you doing? Welcome back to the madness.
So last year you were like, I'm giving up coffee. This year you're like, I'm drinking mushroom water. What are you gonna do next year?
It remains to
Co-
be seen.
Coffee enemas? Like, what are you doing?
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. I don't know, but that Joy coffee is good though. It's good. Mm. So,
I think Jesus would leave me if I tried to make him drink mushroom coffee instead of
oh,
regular
do not
coffee.
even don't even tell him about it. Don't even
Mm-mm.
tell him. Just keep that to yourself.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, my dear, what have you been reading lately, or what have you recently finished?
So I almost got confused and grabbed the wrong book. I started. Remember, we found that quartet. That's what I'm looking for when we were
Yes.
at the big warehouse
Second
place.
story in Rockville.
That one. Well, I started it finally. So I started the first one. So this is a Dance to the Music of Time by Anthony Powell, which is actually a collection of 12 books that have been bound into 4 volumes, and that's kind of how
Mm,
they're sold now. And these were written in like the 50s, and they follow these boys between the wars between World War One and World War Two. And so we're right at the beginning. They are I always forget that like British kids of a certain age and especially a certain time,
yeah.
they were very likely to be at boarding school. So in my
Yes.
head originally, I thought these were like freshmen in college, and they're more
Hmm.
like seniors at boarding school. And it's been fun. It's kind of funny. It's a good time. It's very reminiscent of Brideshead, which is why it was recommended to me because I really liked Brideshead, and this goes obviously a lot more in depth.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna get heavier as these boys grow up and we get closer to World War II. I'm enjoying the writing. I really was daunted by it because they're quite chunky, but
Yeah.
they're really not that big. I mean, the font's fairly large, the spacing's fairly big. It's each of these is 3 books, and they're probably, like, 300 or so pages, so it's not really that much. Um, but I've been having a good time so far.
Yeah.
I have liked some of the there's always, like, a little bit of there's already a little bit of, like, class distinction kind of going on in what, like especially for me, like, a very much an outsider to this whole world, um, seems like people are all kind of in the same echelon, but they're really not. There's
Hmm.
all these little distinctions that, put people in one place or the other, so that's been interesting to see, and then also there's also this these boys are like half of them are going to university and the other half aren't, right? And the ones who aren't are all like just going straight into business because that's what they think a better use their parents think that's a better use of their time. So like they're just becoming solicitors And I'm like, "How do you become a solicitor by not going to university?" You know, like, it just doesn't
Right.
there's things that don't make sense. Like, I understand if you work in your father's business, that's different, right? Your dad has a business, you don't necessarily need to go to college. But it's just there's things that are very much of a time that just don't exist anymore, and I
Yeah.
think this idea of, um, like, the entry level position, right? Or, like, working your way up a corporate ladder through just merit alone, um, putting in the time and the years, like, that kind of stuff doesn't really exist. It's
Yeah.
so degree heavy, and, like, you need a degree for everything, even if things you don't really necessarily need a degree for, like, you need experience more than you need, to sit in a classroom and be taught something so that then you could go get the experience and do the
Yep.
thing. So that's interesting to see. And then I laughed because our narrator, whose name is escaping me, Jenkins, he goes to France in between, like high school and college, and he is doing like a study abroad sort of thing. He's living with his family in France, and one of the first things he does when he gets there, he's there for like a few hours, and he's not feeling well the whole time he's there. And he finally gets there, and he vomits. Like all he does is just puke. Like he's just puking everywhere. And I was laughing so hard because when I was on French exchange, we flew to Paris to
Yeah.
France, and we end up. Oh, we flew to Belgium, I think, and then we drove over or something like that. But anyway, and I met my family, I put my bags down, we went to town with all the other kids, and, we went to the bar and played foosball and smoked cigarettes, did whatever we were doing, and I had to, like, exit out the bar and puke over the side of, like, the railing into the river, and I was dying laughing. I was like, "Is this what happens when you go on exchange to France? You must, within the first 18 hours, puke somewhere in
Oh
this
my
country?"
gosh. Oh
So
gosh, that's too funny. Okay.
so it's just interesting, and it's capturing a time that is lost,
Yeah.
and a very unique time, particularly for certain well, I think for everybody in the UK and everywhere else probably, but, it's just such a time that's lost you're never gonna get it back. You're in between very much changings of societal changes, so it's just I think I'm anticipating a really eye-opening read through all these books. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with the first of the 3 that are bound up in here. So,
That
yeah,
sounds
that's
really good.
yeah. So hopefully I don't like lose steam and they continue to be interesting because 12 books is a lot. Um,
That is a lot.
but yeah.
Wow. And
But like right now
also,
they're young.
man,
They've got
talk about
papers.
lucking up and finding that whole thing in that one used bookstore. That I mean, that was. And look, we were in the checkout line. Where, but you just happened to turn around
I turned around
when we were in the
and I
checkout
said,
line, and you were like, "Oh my gosh!" I like, come
because I
on, the book
usually
fairies were on
see
your side.
'Cause usually when I'm looking for this, I see 1 somewhere in the quartet, and
Yeah.
not it's never book 1. It's always, like, book 3, like, it's like
Right.
something else. It's never book 1. So I finally found book 1, but I didn't just find book 1, I found all of them, and I'm
So it was
very, very,
amazing.
very
An
excited to have
amazing
this,
find.
and I'm really enjoying myself, and if you liked Bride's Head, like, if you're listening and you really liked Bride's Head and you kinda want more of books that are at that time, I would pick this up. I think I could confidently say you should pick this up and at least give it a try, because it's enjoyable in my humble opinion. So, yeah,
Yeah, I recently purchased Brideshead with my in my last McKay run. So
I saw that.
I hate that goddamn movie tie-in cover. You know I hate those so much, but it's the only one they had, so that's what I got. Anyway,
Uh, yeah, I have that too, it's fine.
yeah, it's fine. All
It is
right.
what it is.
So I am reading a book that Alyssa and I are going to be discussing on this podcast because we always discuss Claudia Pinheiro. I'm reading The Time of Flies. I'm very early in this book. I'm only like 31 pages in, but
Mhm.
we are with Inez, and she's recently been released from prison. She spent
Oh, Inez.
she served 15 years in prison for killing her husband's lover. Okay. So she's out now, and another woman who was in jail, in prison with her, called named Monka. She's also out, and they have started a business. Inez has some type of like pest control business, and it's doing pretty well. She's got some really consistent clients, and gaining more. And Monka has like an overlapping business that they registered both their businesses like under an umbrella name, but they help each other out. So like it's working really well for them. So anyway, Inez goes to one of her clients' homes to, do some work. And this client of hers propositions something with her that, like, here's the fork in the road. If she just says no, life goes on, as it is. But if she says yes, I can't even imagine what kind of shenanigans she'd get up to. So that is where I stopped in this book, at that point where that client has propositioned her with the specific thing that she would like Inez to do. And I cannot wait to get back to this to see what she decides to do and how that all unfolds. So anyway, that's The Time of Flies by Claudia Pinheiro. This is out now from Charcoal Press. We love Charcoal. Thank you, Charcoal, for sending us these books. We appreciate it so deeply. All
Oh
right.
my god, Charco's so generous. The
They
fact that they
are
send me books
truly,
from the UK is just
truly,
crazy to me.
truly.
Um, I will say that I think you should read all yours before you read Time of the Flies,
Oh,
which is the
okay.
fifth book.
Okay.
Um, so you can actually understand what happened with Ines and her husband
I
and
shall.
the lover and all of that. It's very short. It
Okay.
was good.
I have
I
all of
read
her
that
books.
mhm,
I have
it was
them
good.
all. So I shall stop
Ines
this
is
then and read that first.
a very interesting character. Um, yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
going to start that tomorrow.
And she's got a
Hello.
whole issue with her daughter, and I'm assuming things with her daughter continue into this narrative.
Yes.
Um,
The daughter is mentioned like on the back, but, I've
mhm,
not gotten to that point yet. Okay.
mhm,
Hmm.
mhm.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So stop what
Okay.
you're doing, lady,
I,
and
will-
pick up
I should
that other
stop. I
book.
should stop. Okay. Oh, exciting.
Okay. So today, we have more anticipated
Ooh,
reads for you, but these are specifically translated books. So we're
yes.
excited.
Very.
Um, and yeah, so I'm gonna tee up the thing here, and I made my little slides again.
She's great at making the slides, guys.
I do like my little slides. I think that
Yeah.
they're handy. This is gonna be just like our other anticipated list, where there's gonna be a glut of probably me talking, and then a glut of Naomi talking, but that's okay. These are in pub order. Hopefully, the pub dates stay the same. We are not in charge of any of that.
Nope.
Let's get
Not
into
our
some
job.
things that are already out. There may be some other things that are already out as it when after we put this out, but as of the day that we are recording this on the 21st of September, these are already out. So we're going to start with "If Only" by Vigdis Hor. Uh, she's Norwegian,
Mm.
and I can't say her name, and I apologize. But I think I just really want to read this because that cover is stunning.
Isn't it
Um,
though?
Mhm. So it says a relatively young woman aged 30. She is married in her early 20s, had two children. It is winter, January, and minus 14 Celsius, white frosty mist around the parked car, around the spruces, the mailbox on its post. But higher up in the sky is blue, clear, and the sun has come back. She has written in her diary that she is waiting for the heartbreak that will turn her into her true self, and she has an impending sense of doom or possibly her own death. Don't care. Um, it's getting like compared to like A Simple Passion by Annie Arnaud and
Mm.
Anna Karenina, and like
Mm.
it just it's like
I
I don't
gotta
like it.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna read that. I'm interested in this author. What was her other book that got nominated? Was it Is Mother Dead or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
It got longlisted either last year or the year before that. But anyway, I'm very interested in reading this author. So yeah, that
Is
sounds
Mother
good.
Dead? Yeah, it is Mother Dead. Um, and that it's out already. It's out from Verso Press or something,
Mm-hmm.
or Verso Fiction, and I'm very curious about it. One of my girlfriends just did a discussion with somebody else about it, on her YouTube channel, and I did not get a chance to listen to it because I was going to work, but, I'm very curious to watch that after I read it. I
Yeah.
have a hold waiting at the library for this
Yeah, this sounds really
already.
good.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
Uh,
Okay.
and then also coming out in September is the Symposium by Olga
Yes.
Tokarczuk, and I've had this pre-ordered forever. It's
Me
coming out the same
too.
day as Sally Rooney, and I'm just like, I don't know where to start. So this is September 1913. A young Pole suffering from tuberculosis arrives at Wilhelm Opzit's guest house for gentlemen in the village of Gorbesdorf. I don't know, a health resort in Silencing Mountains. Every evening, the residents gather to imbibe a hallucinogenic local liqueur and debate the great issues of the day: monarchy or democracy? Do devils exist? Are women born inferior? War or peace? Meanwhile, disturbing things are happening in the guest house and the surrounding hills. Someone or something seems to be watching, attempting to infiltrate this cloistered world. Little does the newcomer realize as he tries to unravel both the truths within himself and the mystery of the sinister forces beyond that they have already chosen their next target. I
Yeah,
mm,
man.
after a century oh, I've never really read this full review. I've just went, "Yes." A century after publication of A Magic Mountain, Olga Tokarczuk revisits Thomas Mann's territory and lays claim to it with signature boldness, inventiveness, humor, and bravura. I have Magic Mountain.
Me too. Right here.
Interesting. I
It
have
keeps
Magic
coming
Mountain.
up. It
I
literally keeps
know.
coming up. Well, we have to read it because there have been several books that I've read that either mention this or the author themselves talk about this book. This is why I got this book. I went to McKay one Saturday, was like, I got to find this freaking book because it will not leave my realm. So,
I got this also at the same place that we got the other books.
second story in Rockville, Maryland.
Mhm. And this is a beautiful edition. It's not folio, it's one of the other ones, the
Hmm.
Franklin Library one,
Oh yes.
and it's beautiful.
Oh, who was it that collects those? I think his name is oh, supposedly fun. His booktube channel.
Oh,
He collects a
yeah.
lot of those Franklin books.
They're beautiful, and then you know what? You they're always there's always something available, and it's in beautiful condition. Obviously, the person who read this didn't read it, they just bought it.
Yeah,
Like, the paper it's not a paper, the, ribbon isn't even, like, out, it's still wrapped around.
yeah.
Oh, look, it's even illustrated.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah,
So this is apparently a daunting task to read this. We've gotten sidetracked, but this is
it's
apparently a daunting task to read
yeah.
Magic Mountain.
But I
But I'm
heard it's
very
so good.
well, you know what got me on this was The Magician when we read that by Colin Toybin.
Right,
Um, that's what got me thinking that maybe I need to read Magic Mountain.
right. Oh, mine is a 1968 edition that was published by Knopf.
Look at your fancy edition over there.
Now, back to the Emporium.
Yes,
I have
back
it
to the
pre-ordered
task at
too.
hand.
No,
Uh-huh.
it's all books. It's all relevant. I have it pre-ordered as well, but I have it pre-ordered from Blackwell's because I'm getting the Fitzcarraldo edition.
I
And so it comes out in the
eh,
UK on September 26th.
visually, I enjoy a Fitzcarraldo. However, I find them a pain in the ass to read, especially if
Really?
they're like over like 150 pages. I do not like the binding
Hmm.
on them. I don't like the paper. I don't like the margins. I don't like the feel in my hand. I don't like anything about the way they print their books other than visually.
Wow.
I think they look really nice on a shelf.
I
It
love them.
irritates me. The paper is too thick, too stiff. The margins
I
are all
love
funny.
them.
I hate it.
All of my Fernando Melchor books are Fitzcarraldo edition. I love them. I don't love this cover. I don't know why, but
Oh, I
I
do.
don't love it.
I do. I love the
I don't love
skull.
it.
I love it all.
Yeah, I don't love it. But yeah, so it's coming, but yeah, it comes out the 26th of September in the UK. So I've got it pre-ordered. They've already taken my money, so I know it's gonna be making its way.
Yes. So, anyway, so that's that. You can read your tough, stiff, terribly expensive for what it is edition, and I'll
Wow,
read
that
this.
felt really suggestive in a very intimate way.
I like the things that they publish, but I
Yeah.
just I really coveted them and then I held them in my hands and I was disappointed.
Oh,
I
I
just
love them.
feel like there's a better hand feel
Yeah,
than a
yeah,
Fitzgeraldo.
yeah.
I'm so angry I'm shaking the camera. I'm like, "There's a better hand feel." Anyway, let's move on to the actual list.
Okay. You wanna go to our list?
And we'll start here with Suggested in the Stars.
Okay, Suggested in the Stars by Yoko Tawada, translated from the Japanese by Margaret Mitsutani. It says, as Haruku, whose land of sushi has vanished into the sea, and who is still searching for oh, sorry, my phone just blinked, who is still searching for someone who speaks her mother tongue, and her friends travel onward. They begin opening up to one another in new and extraordinary ways. They try to help their friend Susano regain his voice, both for his own good and so he can speak with Haruko amid many often hilarious misunderstandings, some linguistic in nature. They empower each other against despair, coping with carbon footprint worries, but looping singly and in pairs. Haruko and her friends hitchhike, take late night motorcycle rides, and hop on the train, learn about railway strikes, but also pack train yoga to convene in Copenhagen. There they find Susanna in a strange hospital working with a scary, speechless doctor. In the half basement of this weird medical center, they also find two special kids washing dishes. They discover magic radios, personality swaps, ship tickets delivered by a robot, and other gifts. But friendship, loaning one another the nerve and heart to keep going, sets them all to dreaming of something more. It sounds very magical in many ways and very interesting. So I am intrigued to see what this story is about. I'm very much interested. Um, so yeah, that is Suggested in the Stars by Yoko Tawada, translated from Japanese by Margaret Mitsutani, and that comes out on October 1st, 2024 from New Directions Publishing.
Excellent. Next is me.
Woohoo!
Uh, so this is Clean by Alia Trabuco Zaran. Probably
Yeah.
did that wrong. Um, I'll have to see where this is translated from. I want to say it's translated from Spanish, but I may be wrong. Anyway, so this just sounds really dark and fun. So this is supposed to be a masterclass in suspense. So it is a razor sharp, unforgettable novel about a maid who's seen too much and a family at a breaking point. A young girl has died, and the family's maid is being interrogated. She must tell the whole story before arriving at the girl's death. Estella came from the countryside, leaving her mother behind to work for the Senor and Senora, Spanish, when their only child was born. They wanted a housemaid, smart appearance, full time, their ad said. She wanted to make enough money to support her mother and return home. For 7 years, Estella cleaned their laundry, wiped their floors, and made their meals, kept their secrets, witnessed their fights and frictions, raised their daughters. She heard the rats scrabbling in the ceiling. She saw the looks the senor gave the senora. She knew about the poison in the cabinet, the gun, the daughter's rebellion as she grew up, the mother's coldness, the father's distance. She saw it all.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
sounds good.
I had that book on my Blackwell's wish list because this came out in the UK in June, but it has like a pink cover with like looks like somebody like cleaned something.
Mhm.
So that is I will read that eventually. Yeah,
Yeah, so this is out from Riverhead on the 15th of October. Um, and I'm very excited. Very
I love it.
excited. And then I'm just gonna tee this one up here, but this is, The Plains by Federico Falco, and this is coming out from Charco, eh, and, uh, this just sounded really good. Federico. Let's see if I can get it out. I just love the simplicity of a Charco press cover
Yes.
and, like, the
Yes.
vibrant colors.
Yeah.
So this is coming out on October 15th. And so after a loss, a year in the country, 4 seasons to transform a garden and self. It just sounds reflective and lovely. In the city, the notion of the hours of the day, of the passage of time is lost. In the countryside, that is impossible. Our narrator tells us. In this remote house and garden, time is almost palpable. It goes by without haste and brings into sharp relief even the tiniest details: insects, the sound of the rain, a falling leaf, the smell of damp earth. Past and present are equally weighted and visible here, revealing themselves slowly with every season and turn of the spade. So a year unfolds, a garden takes shape as his connection deepens to this place, becoming a shelter from everyone and everything, perhaps even from himself. We see the ants devouring the chard. We hear the tales of his grandmother told, perhaps real, perhaps taken from a movie. And we learn about his true love, Ciro. I don't CIRO. The humid sheets in the country, the carefully renovated apartment in the city, and the painful, inexplicable breakup that prompted him to take refuge in this patch of now carefully tended land.
Mm.
Oof! Just
Yes.
sounds good, and
Yes.
dun, dun, and it is translated from Spanish, and it's translated by, Jennifer Croft, who's
Oh,
translated a
yes,
lot of
we know
really
her.
great books. So,
Mhm.
yeah, really excited for this. Hopefully, I'll be able to get one from Charco, but if not, I'll just buy it. Anyway,
I love it.
next is you.
Okay, on Woman's Madness. Now, this came out,
Like
I wanna
2017 or something.
yeah, but it's, coming out this year, um, from Tilted Access Press on October, 15th, and it is translated, oh, I couldn't tell where it was translated from, but it's translated by, Lucy Scott. I had seen this book before, and, it caught my eye, so I do love Tilted Access Press, so I'm going to get it from them. So, on A Woman's Madness, this is a classic of queer literature. They say that's an electrifying today as it was when it was originally appeared in 1982. It tells a story of Noinka, a courageous Black woman trying to live a life of her choosing. When her abusive husband of just 9 days refuses her request for divorce, she flees her hometown in Suriname on South Africa's tropical northeastern coast for the capital city of Paramaribo. Unsettled and unsupported, her life in this new place is illuminated by the passionate romances of the present, but haunted by society's expectations and her ancestral past. I think this is going to be a fantastic read. I am so excited to read this book. So, that is On a Woman's Madness by Astrid Romer, translated by Lucy Scott. It's coming out from Tilted Access Press on October 15th, 2024.
I wonder, I'm just looking up, it's from Suriname? Is the person from Suriname?
I'm not
Because then
sure.
I think that that would be, kinda like Dutch or something.
I'm
I'm
not
just trying to figure
sure.
it out, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure either.
but I know I'm going to read it.
But it might not be, like, exactly Dutch, it might be, like
Mhm.
yeah, oh, no, it's probably Dutch. At the age of, 19, the author emigrated to Suriname from the Netherlands,
Ah,
and
okay.
so it's probably Dutch, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Yep.
old Google. Alright,
We love it.
um, who loves this cover? I love
I
this cover.
do.
So this is
Oh
Miss
my
Kim
gosh.
Knows and Other Stories by Cho Nam-ju. This, I believe, is translated from Korean, and it is a the author of Kim Ji Young, born 1982, which I loved. And this is a collection of stories exploring the intimacies of contemporary Korean womanhood, and I'm down for it. I really
Mm.
love the novel. I would really love to read these short stories. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be a thought-provoking anthology for the Me Too age. Is there anything else interesting in here? It's got her signature razor sharp prose. Miss Kim Knows follows 8 women as they confront how gender shapes and orders their lives. A woman is born, a woman is filmed in public without consent, a woman is gaslit, a woman is discriminated against at work, a woman grows old, a woman becomes famous, a woman is hated and loved and then hated again. As with Kim Ji-young, born 1982, these microcosmic stories prove eerily relatable under the author's precise, unveiled gaze. Providing another
Yes.
captivating read from an ancestral voice in fiction. I'm very excited for this, and this cover is banging. So this is out on the 29th of October, and I keep wanting to say liverite because
Mm.
I'm a
Mhm.
nurse. Live right, friends. I see liver first. Just so you know.
Oh my goodness. A stack of books
And
just fell on my keyboard. It's fine.
we're
Okay.
really falling apart here in the last recording of the evening, folks.
Just a little bit.
It's okay.
But
We'll
that
get
cover's
there.
awesome though. That is like so striking.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. I didn't know that they had another book being translated and coming
Yeah.
out this year. So, anyway, so the next one is you, and I like
All
how it blends
right.
in with the graphic. Like this is perfectly
Yes.
done.
Sister Deborah or Deborah by Scholastic Mukasanga. I read her story about her mother. Maybe it was last year. It was so good. Anyway, I'm obsessed with her now. This is translated from the French by Mark Polizzati, and this is coming out from Archipelago Books on October 29th, 2024. And it says,
Mhm.
when time-worn ancestral remedies fail to heal young Akarizi's, that's probably wrong, malady, she is rushed to the Rwandan hillside. From her termite porch under the coral tree, health blooms under Sister Deborah's hands. Women bare their breasts to the rising sun as men under thatched roofs stand, stunned and impotent before this female fury. Now grown, Akarizi unearths the truth of Sister Deborah's passage from America to 1930s Rwanda and the mystery surrounding her sudden departure. In colonial records, Sister Deborah is a pathogen, an incident. Who is the keeper of truth? I This name is really throwing me. Akarezi impels us to ask, who stands at the threshold of memory? Did we dance? Did she heal? Did we look to the sky with wonder? This just sounds incredible. Um, I'm all about it. I like Mukasanga's writing. She is so compelling and she is so thoughtful. So I'm excited to read the story of Sister Deborah. So again,
Interesting.
that comes out from Archipelago Books on October 29th, 2024.
I always forget about Archipelago Books. I can't
I know
apparently I
because
can't
I
even
had
say
you
it.
read Ken, and that was the worst thing I ever made you do.
I didn't read it. I read, like, a
Oh, you
chapter and a
abandoned
half,
it.
and then I sold it. I gave it to McKay's, and I said, "Let this yellow brick be somebody else's burden." I didn't
Oh, that's
care.
funny.
I I think we need to just accept and embrace that Alyssa is not a family saga person.
Yeah,
It
that's what
can
it is.
happen. It can happen. You know, The
Mhm.
Eighth Life is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Um, love songs
so
of
good.
W.E.D. E.B. Du Bois, E.D. E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah,
Um, phenomenal, but I mean, it's gotta be a special
yeah,
kind of book, and
yeah.
then I like it. Anyway, so look at that cover. So
Ooh,
this is No Place to Bury the Dead by Karina Sainsborgo. It's translated from Spanish by Elizabeth Breyer. And this is like a plague novel. It says a rich lyrical tale of desperation and redemption set during an outbreak of a plague that causes amnesia. Yes.
mm,
In an unnamed Latin American country, a mysterious plague quickly spreads, erasing the memory of anyone infected. Augustias Romero flees with her family, but their flight is tragically cut short when she loses both her children. Consumed by grief, she finds herself within the hallucinatory expanse of Mesquite, a town corrupted by greed and populated by tellers, refugees, and violent predatory gangs. Here, oh, sorry, I guess it's Angostinas. I don't know. Is finally able to lay her children to rest at the third country, a cemetery run by the larger than life Estacion Salazar, a refugee beyond uh, a refugee beyond suffering and fear. While Visitacion remains defiant in her mission to care for the dead, the cemetery she oversees is the focal point of a bitter land dispute with
mm.
Alcides Jesus is probably listening and just cringing.
Dying.
Abundio, the most feared landowner of the border, caught in this power struggle, Angostinas and Visitacion, friends and sometimes rivals, stand their ground on a frontier where the law is dictated by violence, a surreal territory whose very nature blurs the boundaries between life and death. We are exploring what we are capable of and how far we will go when we have nothing to lose.
Wow, I like how that sounds,
Mhm.
and that cover is striking.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
this is out December 10th from Harper Via.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited.
Adding that to my list, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Alright, you ready for your next
I'm ready. I
one?
think.
Alright. Season of the Swamp is you.
I'm a mess. All right. Season of the Swamp by Yuri Herrera, translated from the Spanish by Lisa Dillman. This is coming out from And Other Stories on November 4th, 2024. And it
Mhm.
says New Orleans, 1853. A young exile named Benito Suarez disembarks at a fetid port city at the edge of a swamp. Years later, he will become the first indigenous head of state in the post-colonial Americas, but now he is as anonymous and invisible as any other migrant to roiling and an alluring city of New Orleans. Accompanied by a small group of fellow exiles who plot the return and hope for victory over the Mexican dictatorship, Suarez immerses himself in the city, which absorbs him like a sponge. He and his compatriots work odd jobs, suffer through the heat of a southern summer, fall victim to the cons and confusions of a strange young nation, succumb to the hallucinations of yellow fever, and fall in love with the music and food all around them. But unavoidable too is the grotesque traffic in human beings they witness as they try to shape their future. I think this is going to be really, really interesting. I am very excited to read this book. So that is Season of the Swamp by Yuri Herrera, translated from the Spanish by Lisa Dillman, coming out from And Other Stories on November 4th, 2024.
Excellent. See if I can get a better, I don't think I'm gonna get a better description of this, but we're gonna go with it, and we're gonna go to the next one here, which is a new edition of this is coming out from NYRB on December 17th,
Ooh.
and I
Mhm.
haven't read any Tove John I guess it's Janssen. I've probably said that wrong, but this is Sun City, and, where's Tove from? I always wanna say, like, Norwegian, but it's some sort of Scandinavian country. I'll get it correct somewhere. Swedish. There we go. This is translated from Swedish by Thomas Teal, and I have never read their work, but I've always wanted to, and
Mm.
this just sounded fun. So she has written a lot of short stories and books around the everyday life of like older people. And so I
Yeah.
guess she was traveling through America in the 70s. And so she became very fascinated by um, the retirement home as like the American institution of the retirement home where like old people live together in these like tightly knit like little worlds. And so
Mm.
this is her describing several residents and employees in a retirement home. I think in I want to say it's in Florida, but I might be wrong there. But it's about cultural divides and facing the death of its of dream and the confronting your own mortality and it just I'm always down for an
Okay.
NYRB and this just sounded really interesting,
Yeah.
and I'm here for it. Also, like, look at that cover. Look at that
Cover
cover.
is amazing.
Is that Jesus? I don't know.
Like, we don't know.
Is that just a dude from the '70s? I don't know.
Right. I like it.
You'll never know.
I like it.
So, yeah. So that cause out what did I say? It was from December 17th from
Hmm.
NYRB, and we do love an NYRB. And then
Hmm.
Uh, I'm just gonna pull this up here. So there is a new Han Kang coming out, and it sounded
Yes, it
phenomenal. I
is.
read this to Naomi the other night, not the book, the whole book, but the description of the book, and I was like, "We must get it." And I do have an
Right.
e-arc of this now. I'm very excited. So this is coming out from Hogarth on the 21st of January. I don't know why I'm not on Hogarth's PR list because I read so many of their books,
I know they
but
have been so good to me.
they are very kind and they do at least let me have e-arcs because they don't all let me have e-arcs because my NetGalley score is abysmal, but anyway, so this is her most revelatory book since The Vegetarian, allegedly. It tells the story of a friendship between two women while powerfully reckoning with a hidden chapter in Korean history. That really was enough to sell me on it, but we will keep going. One winter morning, um, Keonga, that's very said very wrong, receives an urgent message from her friend, uh, Insia N, so we'll call them K and I, to visit her at the hospital in Seoul. I has injured herself in an accident, and begs Kay to return to Jeju Island, where she lives, to save her beloved pet, a white bird called Amma. A
Mm.
snowstorm hits the island when Kay arrives, and she must reach Ai's house at all costs. But the ice, wind, and squalls slow her down as begins to fall. She wonders if she will arrive in time to save the animal or even survive the terrible cold that envelops her with every step. Lost in a world of snow, she doesn't yet suspect the vertiginous plunge into the darkness that awaits her at her friend's house, blurring the boundaries between dream and reality. We Do Not Part powerfully illuminates a forgotten part of Korean history buried for decades, bringing to light the lost voices of the past to save them from oblivion. Both a hymn to an enduring friendship and an argument for remembering, it is a story of profound love in the face of unspeakable violence and a celebration of life, however fragile it might be. That just sounds
Yes.
phenomenal,
Yes.
and I need it, and I cannot wait to
Yes.
crack into this ebook. So
Yes.
so
Of
that's
course, we'll
21st
probably be
of
discussing
January.
that on this show because that's what we do. I'm
I already know
excited.
that I love Homecoming. I love Homecoming.
Also, the
Um,
cover is very striking.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't know what's next. Oh, it's you. Next.
Yeah. All right. This is My Tender Matador by Pedro Lamibo, translated from Spanish by Catherine Silver. This is coming out as a Pushkin Press classic in January of 2025. It says My Tender Matador is an extraordinary novel of revolution and forbidden love and a stirring portrait of Chile at a historical crossroads. By turns funny and profoundly moving, this lyrical prose offers an intimate window into the world and mind of Pinochet himself as Carlos and the Queen negotiate their unspoken complicity and mismatched affections to the beat of the bolero and the threat of repression. Pinochet contends with revolutionary upstarts, negative world opinion, fascist reveries, terrifying nightmares, and an endlessly chattering wife who has more respect and affection for her hairstylist than for her husband. I'm all for this. I'm all for it. Um, Sounds fascinating, interesting. This is My Matador by Pedro Limonbell, translated from the Spanish by Catherine Silver, out from Pushkin Press Classics, January of 2025.
All right, next is you.
Yes. Okay, this is The Unworthy by Agustina Basterica, author of Tender is the Flesh, and this is translated from Spanish by Sarah Moses. This is coming out from Pushkin Press, March 2025. And it says, from her cell in a mysterious convent, a woman writes a story of her life and whatever she can find, discarded ink, dirt, and even her own blood. A lower member of the sacred sisterhood, deemed an unworthy, she dreams of ascending to the ranks of the enlightened at the center of the convent and of pleasing the foreboding superior sister. Outside, the world is plagued by catastrophe. Cities are submerged underwater. Electricity and the internet are non existent. And bands of survivors fight and forage in a cruel, barren landscape. Inside, the narrator is controlled, punished, but safe. Yes, please. Give it to me. Yeah. So, that is The Unworthy by Augustina Basterica, translated from Spanish by Sarah Moses, coming out March of 2025 from Pushkin Press.
You know I wanna read it.
Of course.
I
Of
do.
course.
And this is your burger book. I'm sorry, this is a burger book. I know that's not the name of it, but it's a burger book.
This is On the Clock by Claire Baglin, translated from French by Jordan Stump. You know, Jordan Stump, he translated that book we read by Marie. What was it? With the lady in the jail for killing her kids. What was it called? The weird book, like
Oh,
it's beautifully
in
written.
Day.
Yes, there we go. Translated by him, Jordan Stump. This is coming out from New Directions Publishing on March 4th, 2025. All right. And it says, uh-oh, it's a family saga. That's for
I'm out.
me, but not necessarily Alyssa.
I'm
It
out.
is a penetrating picture of social inequality and a coming of age story into a compact tale told in two alternating strands. The first follows a 20-year-old narrator's summer job at a fast food franchise, and the other shows us moments from her childhood with her family, with a particular focus on her hapless, infuriating, good-hearted father, a low-paid but devoted electrician in a factory. These two schemes sketch out in swift turns two stories of underappreciated work, one covering several decades, the other a summer, one constituting a sort of life, the other a stopgap on the way to something different. With a keen eye for eloquent details and a sharp ear for workplace jargon, dry humor, and a crisp, compelling style, Bagman's depiction of their lives is particularly rich, at once affectionate and alienated. I'm excited to read this. I mean, give it to me. It's about families. What?
It's
Unappreciated workers.
definitely a you book. It just
It's a
looks
me
like
book.
it should say good burger on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. So
A little
that
bit.
is On the Clock by Claire Baglin, translated from French by Jordan Stump, and this is out from New Directions Publishing on March 4th, 2025.
All right. And then the last two are mine. So we have Tokyo Sweet. I wanted to say sweep. And this is
I almost
translated
added that.
from Portuguese. It's by a Brazilian author, and it's translated by Bruna Dantas Lobato. And this is their English language debut. It's a gripping exploration of the complexities of modern family dynamics and the tensions hiding just under the surface of ordinary lives. And this is the author's name is Giovanna Mataloso. That is definitely wrong. It is a seemingly ordinary morning when Meiju, a nanny, boards the bus with Cora, the young girl she's been caring for, and disappears. The abduction, uh, an act as impulsive as it is extreme, sets off a series of events that will force each character to confront their deepest fears and desires. Fernanda, Cora's mother, is a successful executive who is engulfed in her own personal crises that she initially fails to notice her daughter's disappearance. Her marriage is strained and she finds solace in an affair, distancing herself from her family. Meanwhile, her husband, overwhelmed by the complexities of their domestic life, remains emotionally detached. As Meiju navigates the streets of Sao Paulo with Cora, the White Army of Nannies, a term coined by Fernanda, seems to watch her every mood, heightening her sense of paranoia and urgency. The author's narrative delves deep into the human psyche, examining themes of maternal guilt, societal expectations, and the search for personal identity. I think that sounds really interesting, and I really like the
I
cover.
I had that on the list and I took it off. That translator, Bruna, that book that I read out from Charcoal, The Dark Side of Skin by Jefferson Tenorio. She
Mhm.
translated that book. It was a great translation. And then I went on the deep dive with her, and she has her own book coming out this year called Blue Light Hours, which I already have on pre-order. So I'm excited to read more of her work and what she translates.
Oh, interesting. Wow. So that's out March 4th from Europa, and I have one more Europa for us, and that is The Colony by Anika Norland, and this is out the 25th of March from Europa. And so this is translated from Swedish, and it's a mega bestseller in Sweden.
Mm,
It's the debut novel and is the biggest Swedish literary phenomena since Frederick Backman's A Man Called Ove.
mm.
It's won a lot of prizes. It's a gripping portrayal of contemporary society and its alternatives. Burnt out from a demanding job and bustling life in the city, Emily has left town to spend a few days in the country. Once there in the peaceful Verdant Hills down by the river, she encounters a mysterious group of 7 people, each with personal stories full of pain, alienation, and the longing to live differently. They are misfits, each in their own way, and all led by the enigmatic and charismatic Sarah. How did they end up here? Are they content with the rigid roles they have been assigned? And what happens when an outsider appears and is initially drawn by their alternative lifestyle but cannot help but stir things up? It just sounds really
Yes,
interesting. I'm
yes,
here
it
for
does.
it.
Indeed.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
love it.
So that's, I think, our last one. So it's out from Europa on the 25th of March. And yeah, that is everything, folks.
Woo!
Woo!
That was a
That
lot.
was one hell of a recording.
That was a lot. So if you didn't listen, go back and listen to our oh, I guess we don't know which one we're gonna put first, but we also did a fall winter anticipated reads just for non-translated works. So be sure to check out both episodes, this one and that one.
Yeah. I
Wow.
apologize for all the yawning. I'm very tired. It's been a long couple of days trying to kick this cold in the butt. So at
Kick
least I
it.
don't sound as gross.
Yeah, you
I'm just
sound
tired.
much better than you did
Last night I
yesterday.
sounded horrible.
Yes, you did. I
Yeah.
was worried. I was like, do we need to reschedule? You don't sound great.
I told you I needed tea and sleep, and I had
Mhm.
tea and sleep.
And boom. Yeah.
And look at me. Now I'm just
Look at her
tired.
go. Look at her go.
I'm alive, folks. Anyway.
Anyway, let us know what translated books you are looking forward to reading that are coming out in the fall and winter.
Yes,
I just love
please.
all the things that are coming out. I just am so excited.
I know.
So excited.
You love all the new releases.
I do. I do.
I think you read more new releases than I do.
Yeah, because I read my arcs.
Sassy.
I read
I
my
read them eventually, I just don't necessarily read them in the advanced part of it. I read through the RC part of it. It's a
oh,
reading
that's too
copy.
funny.
I
Actually,
read
I need
it.
to look at my I
It's
need to
it's an
update my
Alyssa's reading copy. It is an ARC. It's Alyssa's reading copy.
I
It's not
need to
advanced.
update my, reading spreadsheet because I am curious, with, like, the ratio of new releases and backlists that I read. I think I read more backlist, but I talk more about the arcs because that's the job when you're, accepting these books. But, like, the specific ratio I'm curious about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody's paying me. Who's paying you?
no one. Absolutely no one. Yeah.
Anyway, yes, tell us what you're looking forward to reading, translated, not translated, go back and listen to, or go forward and listen to. I'm not sure what order these are going in.
Yeah.
Listen to both of our anticipated reads for fall and winter. Naomi likes to
Yeah.
call this our showcase. So
Yeah.
it makes me think of Price is Right when you say that. And
Behind the curtain,
so what do you have to recommend for us?
I have for you Incidental Inventions by Elena Ferrante. Of course,
Hmm.
translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein. So, and I didn't know this. So in 2017, The Guardian proposed that she write a weekly column. She was flattered by this offer, but also a little scared. And she had a few little stipulations that she would need for them to say yes for her to do it. So she told the editors that she would accept the offer if they would, one, send her a series of questions, which she would answer within
Mhm.
their time limits, and that this column would only last for 1 year. So this book is all of the articles, essays from that 1 year, from that weekly column. And it's fantastic. There are these beautiful illustrations for each
Oh,
one.
nice.
And it really gives you just kind of an inside look on what she thinks about, friendship and love and marriage and politics. So I just liked being like in her mind a little bit deeper with reading each one of these little weekly essays. It was great. And I'm so glad someone was smart enough to put it into one book. As you know, I am working my way through Ferrante's backlist. I have read all of her fiction,
Mhm.
and I think that I just have two nonfiction books of hers to read, and then I will be a Ferrante completist. So there's that. I love her. They should know that already. So yeah, that is Inventions by Elena Ferrante, translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein.
I do like the illustrations. I think they're really pretty. They're a little like, was it Edward Gorey-esque? Anyway, I
Oh,
like
I'm
them.
sorry. And let me just say the illustrations are by Andrea Uccini.
Very good.
All right, what do you have?
Um, I'm gonna recommend a debut. It's called, Swallow the Ghost by Eugenie Montague. I don't
Ooh, that
have it
cover.
physically. Cover is stunning. It's even better in color. So this tells the story of Jane. We meet Jane in the beginning, and it's the story is told in 3 parts, and it is a perspective shift to on, like, how we see Jane as you go through. So, something happens to Jane, um, and at the end of her chapter, and Jane is definitely an interesting character. She, is kind of stuck between she's got, like, 2 guys on her roster. She can't really decide which one she wants to be with. She definitely has an eating disorder that she's dealing with. She has, like, some bulimic tendencies, and she also does a lot of, like, compulsive exercise. She's also
Mm,
incredibly good at her job. She's working with this author who is also her boyfriend, and he's doing this, like, Twitter, um mystery where he's crafting this entire mystery on Twitter. So like everything down like the accounts and like the ephemera and like all these things. So like are created for this mystery of this dead woman
mm,
and like the public can talk about it and like everyone tries to figure out who killed her and she's like kind of the marketing person who's heading it all up um and she works for kind of I want to call it almost like a BuzzFeedy type of one of those like internet startup kind of companies that does they like work with different creators. They make things bigger. It's like almost like a management company. I don't know how to describe everything that
Mhm.
they do, but they like the guy that owns it kind of like sees things and knows how to like capitalize on creators, right? So
Yeah.
he's working with this author, and so she's got a relationship with him, and she's got a relationship with this other guy. Something happens to her, and then in the other subsequent chapters, or sections, I should say, we get her story, or we get a continuation of the story from different perspectives, and it's how does um, when you are a victim who can't speak for themselves, how does your story change? How do people talk about you? How does your victimhood affect others? And it's very very interesting. Um, it's not a perfect book by any means, but it is so well done as a debut that I will blindly read whatever Eugenie Montague writes next.
Oh,
I
wow.
really enjoyed it. It gave me like hints of in terms of structure, like trust.
Yeah.
Um, in the sense that, like, you're kinda getting the same story from 3 different perspectives, and what really is truth, I don't really know. Um, I mean, we know some of the truths, but you don't know
Yeah.
all of them, and you don't know if you really know Jane at the end of the day, even with all these people that are getting interviewed or people that are talking about her, you don't really know if you really know her at the end of it. And there is also a really interesting discussion of being a caregiver for somebody who has dementia, which I
Mhm.
thought was really beautifully executed. In the
Mm.
second part, that character is working on things and related to Jane and also trying to manage taking care of his mother who has dementia. And there's some really heartbreaking scenes
Yeah.
with them. And I thought it was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. The third part was less strong for me just because I don't like that character. I would have liked someone else to be the one, but I know why they were the ones who are speaking for and about Jane, but I just don't like them. So
Yeah. You're like, "I could have
I
done
didn't really
without."
I
Yeah.
could have done with somebody else's perspective on it. But anyway, it's very interesting. Um, there's like a lot of tension at times. It's very poignant at other times. I really enjoyed the writing, the story, the structure, it was great.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Swallow the Ghost
That
by
sounds
Eugenie
good.
Montague. It is really good, and
I
what a
like
cover,
it.
man.
Yeah.
So mhm.
I like it. Okay. Well, that we did it. That's gonna wrap it up for us.
Oh, did we do it? We did it. I'm
We
so
did it.
tired.
I'm exhausted. All right, folks, check us out everywhere at TBR Lowdown. Visit our website, tbrlowdown.com. Leave us a review where we listen to this podcast and share it with a friend or two or 10, because that's right,
Mhm.
folks. I'm being bold again this year. Share it with some people you know. All right.
She's starting off pretty conservatively.
I am. But just this is the beginning. This is the beginning. The number gets bigger. All right. You
It
never know
does,
what
it
it's
gets
going to be,
bigger.
but it gets bigger. Okay. That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Bye.